ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Going Umbral. So, we haven't been here for a little bit, but life kind of got in the way. Well, today I bring you two Umbral builds, but today we're not looking at Garuda. She's almost finished, but not quite yet. We are going to be looking at the Bone Daddy and Mr. Loot Frame, Nekros. So, before we get into it, let me tell you that this Umbral Nekros is very survivable and very, very good. Not the best endorsement, but trust me, Nekros can hold his own, especially with the Umbral mods. But before we get into the mods, let's have a look at the powers. So as you see, Nekros has a passive, restore a small amount of health with every nearby enemy death. So the more you kill enemies, the more health Nekros is going to regenerate. This works very well with a mod, which I'll get into later, and his Desecrate ability. So his first power, Soul Punch. A blow so powerful it turns the enemy's very soul into a deadly projectile, damaging all in its path. As you see, default range we have 50 meters, and with the power strength of Nekros we have 800 damage. So respectable damage for a first ability, you know. Second ability, we have Terrify. Cast fear into the hearts of nearby enemies, causing them to run away in terror. This is very much your panic button. This is for when level 100s are swarming on your location and you're like, oh my god, I need these guys to be gone. You cast Terrify and they'll all run away in a radius of 15 meters.
New alert marked on navigation 10-0.
Yeah, very nice notice. We have a duration of 27 seconds on it. It can affect 32 enemies, which is a very good sizable crowd control, especially if you're going up against an infested. Where infested swarm you, especially on high level missions, you can put Terrify on, make them run away, and mow them down with your Ignis or whatever you're using. Terrify also has another bonus, that it reduces enemy armor. And for taking out high level armor targets, that can be a pretty huge chunk of their armor gone, especially with corrosive projection. So Terrify and corrosive projection will give you about a 72, maybe 73%. I forgot what the total value was. The armor reduction on armor targets, which if you're using a corrosive weapon, you're going to strip their armor pretty quickly. Desecrate, the one ability Nekros is really known for. This is what makes him Mr. Loot Daddy. Force fallen enemies around you to drop additional loot. We have a radius of 25 meters, which is a very good radius. I found if I've modded too far into range, it really hurt the survivability of my Nekros. So keeping it at the default range was very handy. We have a 54% chance for extra loot, and we take 4 energy per enemy. Now we're not actually using energy for our Desecrate. We're using a Despoil Augment for Nekros, which essentially replaces the 4 energy cost with a 9 health cost, which compared with the mods that I'm going to show you in a minute is fairly negligible. His fourth and final power, Shadows of the Dead. Summon shadow versions of vanquished enemies to fight alongside you for a short period. Now this ability doesn't actually have tiers. What I mean by tiers is there's a certain preference that the Shadows of the Dead will select enemies. So if you kill the normal chargers in a grenade mission, and then you kill say 3 bombards and 2 heavy gunners, then cast Shadow of the Dead again, all 5 of your chargers, or how many charges you had, will be replaced with those bombards and heavy gunners. So the higher level, I suppose the higher rank an enemy is in a specific faction, that's going to be the enemy that you are going to be summoning with your Shadows of the Dead. And as you can see, we can have 7 shadows. They have a 3.4 times multiplier on their damage, a 2.6 times multiplier on their health, as well as their shields, and their health decays at 2.78% a second, which honestly isn't very much. Recasting Shadows of the Dead while you do have shadows does actually heal them to full. Now for the mods, we have Corrosive Projection. Again, this is going to work very well with Terrify to give us a 62% armour reduction on armour targets when we use Terrify. Equilibrium. This mod is very much essential for Nekros, especially when you're running the spoil. With the Desecrate ability that Nekros has, if you don't get extra loot, you will get health and energy. And if you're using your powers a lot with Nekros, not only are you going to be losing health through the spoil, but when you pick up an energy orb, you're going to be getting that health, 90% of the energy orb's value to health, as well as a health orb's value to energy. So Nekros is very efficient, especially with 160% efficiency. He can pretty much spam his powers for days. We have Prime Continuity for ability duration, as well as Constitution for the faster knockdown recovery, as well as an offset the negative duration from fleeting expertise. Now you can run Streamline with this, however just know your powers are going to cost considerably more to cast, and it may not be efficient in the long run. But for me personally, I don't mind fleeting expertise, so I run with that. We have Flow for another mod. Now you don't have to use Flow. I just use Flow for the energy pool. If you want, you could replace it, maybe form it with 2 dashes and go for Shield of Shadows and make a very tanky Nekros. Or you can invest in more duration, or maybe you want some range. That's completely fine. It doesn't hurt the setup in any way. Just know if you do overbuild in range, you'll be desecrating enemies so far off your screen that you're going to be losing health, and you won't find those orbs until you go to that location. So personally I would recommend you stay at the base 100% range, but it's up to you if you wish to build for more range. Of course we have an Umbral build going on, so we have to use Umbral Vitality and Umbral Intensifier, not only for the tower resistance and because they're Umbral mods, but because with 2 Umbral mods I'm actually getting a better value for Intensifier than a normal Intensifier by 15%, and I'm getting a better value of my health through Umbral Vitality because I have 2 of the Umbral mods equipped. You can use Umbral Fiber, however personally I don't see any use to use that on Nekros. I'd recommend you just stick with Umbral Vitality and Umbral Intensifier. And for the Exodus we have Power Drift. For that 50% ability strength, as well as a 30% chance to resist knockdowns. I can't stress this enough. If you go into high-end gameplay, say endurance or whatever, and you run into a scorpion or an ancient healer or anything that can knock you off your feet, 9 times out of 10 enemies are going to start mowing you down when you're down on the floor. So having a chance to resist that knockdown and a faster knockdown recovery is very fundamental for high level gameplay. At least in my personal opinion. The weapons we are using with Nekros are the Akagara Prime and the Hate. Ideally with Nekros you want to use very high slash weapons. So Tigris Prime, Sanctity Tigris, I forget what it's called, Gara Shotgun. It is... Where is Gara Shotgun? The Stealer, that's it. Anything that has a very high slash value is a fundamental weapon for Nekros. Because when you inflict a slash proc and you cut up an enemy through that slash proc, Desecrate will actually desecrate that enemy twice for as many body parts the slash makes. So more body parts equals more loot. And the build for the Ajagara is a hybrid build. And the build for the Hate is a crit hybrid build. Right. That's the rundown of the build. As usual, we are going to jump into Sanctuary Onslaught and see how Nekros can perform solo. It's gonna be good. So as I pointed out, the Despoil mod with Desecrate and Equilibrium work very well together. The health you lose and the health you gain from Equilibrium keeps Nekros in the constant state of being topped up on energy and health. Again, you can replace Flow for Shield of Shadows if you want to make a very tanky Nekros. Right. Honestly, I don't feel the need for Shield of Shadows. Would help if I actually put that on. Get some Shadows of the Dead going. Let's run with the Hate for a little bit. Get some more Shadows up. Got my health down, man. Where's my health wolves? Ajagara. Yeah, they are. Another few good mods you could put on Nekros are health and energy conversion as well. Personally, I would go for, if you're trying to build a tanky Nekros, go for health conversion. Because you're going to get a steady supply of health orbs. Oh, did I? Why have I used that?
A new data conduit is open.
Yeah, what was I saying? I would very recommend you do health conversion over energy conversion. but that's a personal choice. Energy conversion basically gives you extra energy when you pick up an energy orb, but health conversion gives you extra armour. Cap, if you pick up 3 health orbs, you receive 450 armour. I think for the 3. I don't know, I don't really use the health conversion very much. But, can't lie, it is a good mod to use with Nekros. As I've said, the flow is just there because I wanted the bigger energy pool. You could very much replace that with any mod of your choice. I know it's not very often when I do these builds that there is a slot left for a mod of your choice. Top up my shadows.
This experiment will fail if your efficiency drops further.
Ah. There's all the efficiency. Can't be having that. It'd be pretty embarrassing if we failed at something too. Where's the other efficiency? There it is. Go my shadows. Quickly, into the portal! Right, let's go grab the efficiency, wherever that is. Go my shadows, do my bidding. There's one. Efficiency! Where you at? There's 2. I'm a terrible shot today. Right, where's the other efficiency? Right. There we go. Yeah, keep an eye on your Desecrate. If you're like me and you keep forgetting that you don't have your Desecrate up, you're gonna have a bad time. Get some shadows. Pop them up. Ah, interesting. How dare you? Let me go. See, situations like that, the knockdown recovery and the resist knockdown actually comes into play.
I have ordered a new data conduit. Proceed immediately.
I mean, sure, there's probably better mods you could put on. But personally, if I build a warframe, again, I'm gonna die. You will not kill me. They're going to kill me.
Specimens must experience unmatched stress.
Stop it.
Increase your effort.
Let's try that again, shall we? Go, my shadows. Defend my honor. No, snaggle burst.
You generated some usable data, but I need more. Return when you are ready to subject
Yeah,
these
halfway
data
through soon,
immortals
so
to
far. Not bad. It's not our best, but not bad. But yeah, Nekros. If you like extra loot, and you like the whole Necromancer theme of play, Nekros is a very good warframe to personify that. Not only is Nekros a handy frame for new players to gather a bunch of resources, but just having those extra shadows to take some of the heat off you. Even though I didn't do quite a good job of showing that. It is very handy. There's the build again, if you want to have a look. If you have them, I would highly recommend you put Arcane Grace on Nekros. With the 65 armour, he does become pretty squishy. Plus it helps in the terms of the spoil that when you get hit, you are going to restore a percentage of your health. Even though for some reason my Arcane Grace didn't want to proc for me in that little showcase. But anywho, thank you very much for watching. See you guys next time. Say bye-bye, Nekros. See you later, people.